Hey everyone! Today, I'll be sharing my top 5 Tier 3 destroyers in this game. This was suggested in one of my previous videos where I evaluated all the Tier 3 battleships, to see which ones are the best and the worst. If you haven't watched it yet and are interested in battleships, you should check it out now, as I have thoroughly evaluated them to make an unbiased ranking. For this one, I'll only be going through all the factors of each ship that determine their spot, and then, I'll share an effective way of using them. Starting at the bottom of the list, we have the USS Zumwalt. This ship has been on my favorite destroyer list ever since I first acquired the ship, which happened during the very first alpha test of the game. I like this ship because it's easy to use, but it remains quite effective in combat. The ship is equipped with 3 missile batteries, 2 cannons, 2 autocannons, 3 air defenses, and 1 helicopter. The ship doesn't have the best firepower when you compare it to other Tier 3 destroyers, but at the same time, I believe that it's far from terrible either, because if you can give it a set of good offensive armaments, like what I currently have on my Zumwalt, you can deal a significant amount of damage with it, which will make it tough for your opponents to eliminate you without losing a lot of HP. Furthermore, this ship has the ability to release its maximum firepower quickly. This is because it has fewer offensive armaments, and also because of its weapon slot configuration, as each type of its offensive armament is only assigned to a single slot. In case you're not aware, the greater the number of slots dedicated to offensive armaments on a ship, the more buttons users have to handle, leading to a slower release of the ship's maximum firepower. This is very true when you consider weapons that require manual aiming, since you have to take the time to aim your weapon at the target before firing it, and move on to using another weapon of the ship. Due to this quick firepower release, I often recommend this ship for those who are starting out in using Tier 3 destroyers. It's very easy to master, it should be able to provide a good introduction to Tier 3 destroyer battles, and maybe even help you figure out your playstyle and which type of destroyer in Tier 3 suits you best. Furthermore, it has good stats for a destroyer. It has great durability, good speed, good maneuverability, and good radar range. The stats of the ship are literally the ideal stats for a good Tier 3 destroyer. Additionally, the ship features stealth, which is a useful feature in making surprise attacks. All of these things together largely help the ship and its user to perform better in combat. Despite having several advantages, it may still struggle to survive in battle due to its 2 major disadvantages. These 2 major disadvantages are its anti-submarine capability and anti-air capability. This ship lacks anti-submarine capability, which makes it very vulnerable to submarines and torpedoes. As for its anti-air capability, it exists, but it's not very effective, because the ship only carries a few anti-air weapons. The USS Zumwalt is effective in mid and long-range combat. I don't recommend engaging in close-range combat with it unless you have teammates who can assist you, because it will be overpowered easily due to its fewer offensive armaments. While it does have the ability to release its maximum firepower quickly, your opponent will likely eventually catch up to your damage rate and deal more damage than you, especially if they're superior in firepower. For this reason, I strongly recommend using the hide and attack tactic. This ship excels in executing this tactic, thanks to its inherent advantages. Its proficiency in executing this tactic allows you to overcome formidable opponents, even those cruisers or destroyers that are much superior to Zumwalt. This tactic will enable you to inflict substantial damage on your target while minimizing the damage you'll endure during confrontations. This isn't something you should only do in close-range combat, you should also do it in long or mid-range combat too, because there is still a good chance that your opponents may be able to overpower you at those ranges. So it's best to never underestimate anyone you'll encounter when using this ship, especially since there are many ships in Tier 3 that surpass Zumwalt in terms of firepower. Here is a summary of the advantages and disadvantages of the USS Zumwalt. For my 4th best destroyer, I chose the Zhengzhou the Great. I like this ship more than the USS Zumwalt because it's a more combat-capable ship. The ship is equipped with 4 missile batteries, 1 cannon, 2 grenade launchers, 2 torpedoes, 2 autocannons, 2 air defenses, and 1 helicopter. This ship will certainly enable you to deal much greater damage than Zumwalt since its firepower is significantly better, due to it having more offensive armaments. On top of that, it has a pretty good anti-submarine capability. The ship can effectively tackle and eliminate underwater threats with its anti-submarine weapons. Due to these advantages, I believe that the ship is a more versatile and combat-capable destroyer compared to Zumwalt, since it can efficiently handle both surface and underwater threats. Furthermore, most of its attributes in its stats are great. The ship has excellent durability for a destroyer, it has good maneuverability, and a good radar and sonar range. The downside is that it lacks speed, it's currently comparable to that of the USS Constitution. This is one of the two major disadvantages of the ship. The other one is weak anti-air capability, which is even slightly weaker than that of Zumwalt. There is a ship that has almost the same set of armaments as Zhengzhou the Great, which is the RF Leader. The ship also has stealth and great speed, which is an advantage that Zhengzhou lacks, but despite that, the ship isn't on my top 5 list, and this is mainly because of its awful maneuverability. Although its stats indicate high maneuverability, you'll find it to be quite terrible once you bring it to battle. I can effectively use the ship, but I strongly dislike destroyers with poor maneuverability, unless it has something very unique to offer that will be enough to compensate for its poor maneuverability. The ship has no problem at fighting at any range, as it has the firepower and stats to effectively do so. You just have to be certain that you can eliminate your target, because you're likely to get eliminated if you retreat during the fight, due to its low speed. However, I highly recommend not to engage in battle with your opponents alone when using this ship, or at the very least, avoid straying too far away from your teammates. This is so that you can reach them easily and use their air defenses whenever aerial threats are overwhelming the ship, since its air defenses aren't good enough to keep them away. Also, you can do the hide and attack tactic with this ship. If your opponents somehow manage to overpower you, or if they're quite difficult to handle, you can resort to using this tactic to try to gain an advantage over them in battle. It often works very well on my part. Here is a summary of the advantages and disadvantages of Zhengzhou the Great. Third best destroyer, I chose the CN Type 055A. This ship is essentially Zhengzhou the Great, but there's a balance between its attack and defense capability. The ship is equipped with 4 missile batteries, 1 torpedo launcher, 1 cannon, 2 grenade launchers, 7 air defenses, and 1 helicopter. The firepower of this ship is pretty good, although it is somewhat weaker than that of Zhengzhou the Great, due to the absence of autocannons and having fewer torpedoes. However, it makes up for this with excellent anti-air capability that surpasses those of previous destroyers. This advantage is attributed to its high number of anti-air weapons, and the inclusion of the HHQ-9B missile for air defense. This missile is a powerful and effective counterpart to the S-400. Aside from its anti-air capability, its stats are pretty good too. All of the attributes in its stats are good enough for the ship to endure and escape tough battles. Unlike the previous 2 destroyers, there is only one disadvantage that players have to deal with when using this ship, which is its anti-submarine capability. It's not as good as that of Zhengzhou the Great due to it having slightly fewer torpedoes. However, it's not a huge concern because it still has a good sonar range, and it can intercept torpedoes with its grenade launchers. Like Zhengzhou the Great, this ship also has no problem in fighting opponents at any range, and it can take on both surface and underwater threats. You can use it aggressively when facing surface ships, since it has great firepower and anti-air capability, but you should be a little careful when facing submarines, as its disadvantage could mess you up. If you're going to fight submarines, it's best to have someone who can assist you in taking them down, so that you take less damage from them, and eliminate them quickly. Also, you can of course do the hide and attack tactic with this ship to boost its survivability and enhance combat effectiveness. Here is a summary of the advantages and disadvantages of Type 055A. For my second best destroyer, I chose the CN Type 956E, Hangzhou. This ship is different from Zhengzhou and Type 055A, but it's as effective as them, and personally, I find it more enjoyable to use. The ship is equipped with 3 missile batteries, 2 cannons, 3 torpedo launchers, 2 autocannons, 5 air defenses, and 1 helicopter. The firepower of this ship is better than the previous 3 destroyers, and it's all thanks to its torpedoes. Triple torpedoes on a destroyer provide a significant advantage, as it can inflict a lot of damage, especially when the ship is equipped with highly powerful torpedoes. They are lethal to both surface ships and submarines. However, you have to be cautious when engaging submarines or surface ships that are equipped with torpedo and grenade launchers, as this ship doesn't have a grenade launcher to intercept their torpedoes, and they can disrupt your torpedoes. Without this weapon, the ship will struggle to eliminate its target. The ship has the same case as Zhengzhou the Great when it comes to stats. The ship has mostly good attributes, except for its speed, as the speed of the ship is subpar, but if you compare it to that of Zhengzhou the Great, it's a little better. What's more is that it has great anti-air capability. It's not as good as that of Type 055A, but it's so much better than what Zhengzhou and Zumwalt have. So the drawback you'll be dealing with on this ship is its slightly poor speed and vulnerability to torpedoes. But once you get to master this ship, the speed becomes negligible, or may not be a drawback or problem at all. This ship can also fight its opponents at any range. Its capabilities are good enough for the ship to take on opponents at different ranges. However, it performs better in mid and close range combat. The advantage here is that you can quickly hit your enemies with your torpedoes, as the shorter distance reduces their travel time. Also, keep in mind that, while it has pretty good capabilities, it's not good enough to take on multiple opponents simultaneously, and this also applies to the previous two ships. You should either engage one opponent at a time, or cooperate with your teammates to defeat them. Furthermore, due to its vulnerability to torpedoes, you should use the hide and attack tactic. It's very important to use it, as it's the only way for the ship to counter torpedoes. You must avoid getting hit with a swarm of torpedoes, as it's very likely to have a huge negative impact later on the battle. Here is a summary of the advantages and disadvantages of Hangzhou. For my best destroyer, I chose the FS Sword ship. This ship combines great attack capability with excellent agility, and because of it, I find it more enjoyable to use than any other destroyer, hence why it's my best destroyer. This ship is equipped with 2 missile batteries, 1 cannon, 4 torpedo launchers, 1 grenade launcher, 2 air defenses, and 1 helicopter. The firepower of this ship is really great. It can do more harm than any of the ships in the list, and like Hangzhou, it's mainly due to it having a lot of torpedoes. This ship is currently the only destroyer in Tier 3 that carries 4 torpedo launchers. When armed with high-powered torpedoes, a salvo of those torpedoes from this ship will inflict a huge amount of damage to any type of ship. Triple torpedoes are already lethal, but quadruple torpedoes take it to another level. Submarines must avoid getting hit with it, as it would be very hard for them to recover. This ship is also vulnerable to torpedoes, but unlike Hangzhou, it has the speed and maneuverability to dodge them. The ship has excellent speed and maneuverability, which allows it to escape confrontations very quickly and dodge incoming torpedoes. Although it can't completely dodge them, it's still better than having nothing. With these advantages, it makes the ship a difficult or annoying threat to deal with, as they can easily deal huge damage on you, while you struggle to do the same on them, since they run away and hide quickly. The drawback of this ship is its durability and anti-air capability. The ship has a durability that is quite low compared to other destroyers. It can easily be seriously harmed with just a few consecutive burst attacks. Its anti-air capability is very weak. It's comparable to that of Zhengzhou the Great. The main cannon of the ship can target aircraft, which is a good advantage for its anti-air capability, but the cannon is not very reliable, because it can only effectively intercept aircraft when they're flying in close proximity to the ship at a slow speed, as it has poor accuracy. This ship is also capable of fighting at different ranges, but similar to Hangzhou, the ship performs better at mid and close range combat, since you can quickly hit your enemies with your torpedoes, as the shorter distance reduces their travel time. Since the ship has poor anti-air capability, you should do what I recommend you to do when using Zhengzhou the Great, which is to avoid going alone with this ship, or at the very least, avoid straying too far from your teammates. You do not want this ship to get overwhelmed, as it will go down much faster than Zhengzhou the Great, due to its low durability. Finally, the hide and attack tactic is essentially your ultimate skill on this ship. If you use it with this ship, it will be able to deal a lot of damage, and take little to no damage from the enemy, making you a threat that is annoying and difficult to deal with. Here is a summary of the advantages and disadvantages of Sword ship. That was my top 5 destroyers. Please be aware that the information I've provided for each ship is not official, but rather based solely on my personal observations and understanding. So what do you guys think of my top 5 destroyers? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your opinion on it. Now that's all for today's video. Hopefully you guys liked it, and if you all did, please leave a like and subscribe to support me. Thank you so much for watching.